So, real Resident Evil fans, tell me this. Resident Evil Village, is it good? Yes, no, maybe so? Well, I can frankly tell you that this is indeed the final time I think Capcom will ever get my money. And I don't mean Capcom has no chance in hell. But Resident Evil continuing from this story, believe me, you do not want to see that shit show. Now, I want to thank you all for stopping in for the brass tacks, the ultimate reality check you can get nowhere else. Yes, indeed, this is it. This is the beginning of a journey. And we are on that journey to tell the truth. Because the fundamentals of Resident Evil are indeed not what they used to be. And we're going to get into it real soon, folks. I gotta say, I was terribly worried about this game. Now I am no longer worried because I know that there's nothing to worry about. Resident Evil Village is irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the story from Resident Evil 7. It has nothing to do with the other stories that Resident Evil and Capcom have told us. And believe me, you will wake up and smell that coffee. You think we're going to find out anything about White Umbrella or Blue Umbrella or whatever the hell that is? Look, frankly, as a fan of the originals, as a fan of the real Resident Evil games, 7 didn't interest me all that much, but even the naysayers are reviewing 7 with a higher score than 8. Even the graphics, even these simpleton Resident Evil fans who just they'll buy any slop. I mean, come on. When we get down to the brass tacks, they buy anything, any slop at all. But I am going to check on something right now, folks. Okay, good. No, this is really good. We're doing really good right now. Want to wish you guys a great day, but it is indeed the reality of the situation that today is not good. This is the day that Resident Evil died. And now I know you might say, oh, Dylan, but you said Resident Evil died with Resident Evil 4. No, I'd say the slow death began then. And at this point, how can we claw ourselves out of this little grave there, mister? When it comes down to the reality of the situation, I just gotta tell all you guys, spending your hard-earned money on this is a mistake. You are making a mistake by spending your hard-earned money on this. Because at the end of the day, Capcom doesn't care about you. They don't care about, you know, thought-provoking content. They don't care about making you the front seat to everything that Resident Evil is and Resident Evil does. And, you know, it's just, it makes no sense that they wouldn't continue the story of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard into Resident Evil 8. It's like whatever you learned there kind of just went out the window. And although many of the characters return that mattered in that game, I tell you, you will know when you see all the footage.
It's over, Dylan the man.
Little Fishy 69 taking it like a champ. I tell you what, buddy, it is over. Thank you once again for your support through Super Chat. Really do appreciate you there, mister. And I'll tell you what, little fishy, we are getting down to the brass tacks right here and right now. This ain't going to be my face on a screen for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. This is going to be an unmitigated, unfiltered reality check. No censors, no scripts, no sponsors, no nothing. We are taking this corporate shit and we are turning it into something real. I tell you what, you know, I almost pre-ordered it. And, you know, it was mainly for content. I thought perhaps we would get something else in return.
Tell them.
Frank Caves, Mr. Thinking Cap, taking it like a champ. Thank you once again for your support through Super Chat. Really do appreciate that, man. Frank Caves, coming through. In the darkest of times, Frank Caves coming through, because it is over. It is, in fact, indeed over. Now let's get down to the brass tacks here. Let's go. Resident Evil, you may think, is a household horror name, but believe me, you, people, when we get down to the brass tacks, the fundamentals of this have changed greatly. Resident Evil is now a fantasy genre. It is no longer a horror, hardcore, adult-driven... If you think horror is the first fundamental of Resident Evil Village, you are sadly mistaken. The horror element takes a backseat as we are now introduced to this fantasy. I don't know who's directing this game, but frankly, they need to be fired and just, you know, they need to get dragged for all this fake Resident Evil bullshit. Because this right here, this doll, when I seen that, I flipped my lid. I flipped my fucking lid. This hat came off, flipped over. Fucking, believe me, it was not pretty. But getting down to the brass tacks there, buddies. I have no interest in this Goosebumps, Tim Burton, knockoff bullshit. And believe me, I'll review the game for sure. I already reviewed it based on the demos because, frankly, it's not going to change, okay? The demo is not going to change, you know, from the actual game. I mean, like, the fundamentals are all there. If you think the demo is not the full game experience, well, I got news for you, mister. You're in a whole lot of trouble because the game doesn't have exactly a lot of meat on that bone, and it is super, super linear. People said this was an open-world Resident Evil. I don't know what happened to that, but it is not that. It is not that in any way, shape, or form. Holy cow. Even the folks over at Kinda Funny, the biggest shills in the gaming, you know, journalistic culture, they said, underwhelming, not great. Even that Ashley girl from Twitter who runs Capcom's Twitter, she was like, yeah, it wasn't really that great. I didn't love it. And you know why you didn't love it? Because it's not Resident Evil. I know real fans are unfortunately grasping this idea that we are going to once again get a real Resident Evil experience. But let me tell you, it is just not going to happen. Not until Capcom sees that they are hemorrhaging money for creating this circus. This American Horror Story Freak Show knockoff. Oh yeah, here comes Tim Burton with Johnny Depp. Yeah, well, get a job. Perhaps a life. And then reevaluate your whole creative situation, because when we get down to the brass motherfucking tacks, we don't need more Resident Evil bullshit like this that isn't even really, you know, it's a subtext, a subtitle. Village is what this game is, and I can't help hold it against them that they put Resident Evil on the front cover. This is not Resident Evil. This is anything but Resident Evil. This is anything but Resident Evil. American Horror Story Freak Show, much more Resident Evil than this supposed Resident Evil 8 game. Oh my god, buddy, what are you talking about? I'll tell you what I'm fucking talking about, okay? The reality. And the reality is this. These do not, I repeat, do not belong in Resident Evil. Are you kidding me right now? First and foremost, on my left there, look at that big wolfen creature. Now, that would be cool as hell if it were in a non-Resident Evil game, but unfortunately, this is where the wild things are now, and fundamentally, it's a fantasy game. Pure fantasy, you know, action, horror elements sprinkled throughout, but it's just the same as Resident Evil 4 not being survival horror. It was action horror. Well, this is fantasy action, I'd say, because there's an endless amount of ammunition in this game. It's just really just easy as hell. Just countless bullets that you can just put into these bullet sponges that are just not, they're not there. The fantasy element so kills it for me. It just kills it beyond anything I could ever possibly imagine. And you know, I'm not gonna spend $60 on some fantasy slop. I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. I actually just pre-ordered Life is Strange because I thought, well, I gotta buy something. I gotta buy some new game this year, and well, that has a lot more soul and probably is 100 times more of a Resident Evil game than this fake-ass Resident Evil 8 Village bullshit circus stupid clown show that is just full of nonsense and underwhelming graphics. Terrible, terrible, just the worst voice acting I have heard since Watch Dogs Legion. And now if you know my opinion about Watch Dogs Legion, that is in fact a serious insult. Because this is Capcom, okay? They hit that home run many, many times before. Why couldn't they do it here? Well, it's because they're lazy millennial developers, just like Michael Does Life says. And that is the truth. And I don't care how many pictures you send me on Twitter of the development team. It doesn't matter to me at motherfucking all. I don't care if they look like boomers or zoomers or... Dude, I don't care. They are lazy. I don't care if... Lazy boomer developers, what the fuck ever. Let me tell you what. It is proof. There is proof in the pudding, and there is a whole lot of pudding here. Look at this big fat man. He had a lot of pudding. Way too much, in fact. 50 pounds. 50 tubs. I just have no interest in this soulless... It's not the merchant. That's not the merchant. That's the Duke. And guess what? The Duke, I hope his guts spill out on the floor, because that's the biggest insult. Trust me, if you guys were there for the live reaction when they showed the Duke for the first time at the Village Showcase or the Resident Evil Showcase for the 25th anniversary, you would have seen my face. My jaw drop. It was pure shock, and that is true, because this Duke, this dumb big fat merchant who really how does that guy get around? I mean, the question is not even worth answering because this is a fantasy game. He probably snapped his fingers and a little pixie came in there and gave him, you know, some pixie dust and said, here. Dude, this is a baby game. Now, I don't want to mix my words. You think I'm upset that, this... okay. People might think that I'm upset for, Capcom getting rid of my, what do you call it? Well, it's their certified badge, not mine. Resident Evil ambassador or not, I'm telling the reality. I don't care if you want to try and corporately hold me down, pin me down, like a corporate scumbag too, Capcom. Your bullying tactics are frankly incredibly sad, but you know what? I understand, because as a businessman myself, when I get down to the brass tacks, you know, I understand, but then again, I have integrity. I have moral compass. Capcom does not. They are only worried about the money and taking the money from you. And the fact that RE-verse is not included when Village drops, it just does... What is that about? It's because no one cares. No one is bringing up Resident Evil verse. No one literally cares. That should have been the video right there. No one... RE-verse sucks, and literally no one cares. And I do mean no one. There's no one bitching that RE-verse didn't come out. And I'll tell you, even if it did, it would be like Resistance. It'd just come to an end flat out of nowhere. It's just trash, garbage shit. And okay, for the final picture here, this is what pushed me over the edge right here, as far as you know, reasons not to buy this piece of garbage. The doll. This is not Annabelle. This is not The Conjuring. This is Resident Evil. Resident Evil. No. No. I don't care about the fat globby dude. That's kind of actually, like, kind of scary looking. He's just a guy with his shit pulled up here. That's kind of interesting. But just because there's one golden turd doesn't mean I'm going to like all these other terrible pieces of garbage. These characters are clowns. This is a fucking circus. And you know what? I ain't got time for the circus. Believe me, I see enough clowns daily on YouTube trying to tell me that Returnal's good, that Resident Evil Village is not slop, it's for the real fans, and that I'm just an edgelord contrarian. Well, you know what that is. That's jealousy of, you know, I have my thinking cap. I've had it for a very long time. And you people are still developing your thinking caps, and well, the fake Resident Evil fans can frankly, you know, buy this forever. Buy the slop, consume the slop, I don't care. I don't care. Resident Evil, it's going to prevail no matter what. But if you want to be pro-consumer, do not buy this game for full price. If you want to be a real Resident Evil fan, you will not conform. You will not conform or bend to these people. These clueless millennial developers who just frankly are losing their edge. The edge has been lost for a long time, and that may be a debatable fact, but to me, the edge has been gone for so long that I'm not sure I would ever want to see Resident Evil come back from this. This is a circus show, a circus sideshow, bunch of nonsense. It's... Here, let's move on to something else. Let's move on to the reality of the situation, because we are getting down to the brass tacks. Resident Evil Village. This is indeed the day that it died. And you simpletons who just want Big Mommy Milker and nothing else, you simpletons, this is all you care about. This is all anyone cares about. If they don't get the big juicy milker, believe me, they'll foam. They'll foam at the mouth. And this will spill into other franchises, just so you know. You think people aren't watching this and perceiving this as some kind of great marketing tactic? Believe me, the gaming industry is going to keep using this over and over and over. And believe me, Michael does life. It is over. If people do not pay full price for this, we may go somewhere, but I have a feeling they're going to pay full price. Now, getting down to the brass tacks once again, people. This company, this burning franchise, it is a simp edition of Resident Evil. All you care about is the broads, the women, the beautiful vampires, oh my god, and the Wallace Woman, oh my god. This is the simp edition, and it will be remembered as a flawed entry, I swear. People are going to... The fan base is going to be so divided now that it is over. And this crumbling franchise is going to seriously be clawing at anything they can do to keep going. And trust me, they are going to keep going because the Simp edition of Resident Evil is indeed going to sell like hotcakes on... it's just going to sell like hotcakes. And this is Tim Burton knockoff trash. Believe me, I have gotten down to the brass tacks many times on this piece of garbage game, and this fat merchant... Janito! Thank you for your support through Super Chat. Taking it like a champ there, mister. That's why I'm here. Hell yeah. And I tell you, this isn't the Bride of Chucky. This isn't the damn Bride of Chucky. You think that's scary? You think that's cool? You think it's edgy to copy Annabelle and all these... God, this is the most uninspired Resident Evil ever. And it deserves to fail. But it will not. Because the truth is, most people are simpletons. Most people are simpletons, and they'll buy and consume any slop there is. And as this franchise keeps crumbling and just going in this direction further, believe me, once we hit Resident Evil 9, you will indeed see that the cracks are starting to show. And, I mean, if you don't realize then you never will. You are a permanent fan of this franchise. And let me tell you what, as a fan who's been there since day one, RE-verse helped kill Resident Evil, and that is just a fact. And you cannot fight fact with opinion there, buddy. You do not fight fact with opinion. And the fact of the matter is, RE-verse is another reason this franchise is gone and just going further down. I mean, the further we go down to the rabbit hole, you know, it's just a permanent abyss of nothing but Resident Evil nonsense. Real fans didn't want this abominable Fortnite game. I can tell you that much right now. I don't care. I just don't care. I can't believe they shipped this game without RE-verse, and they're expecting people to, like, pay full price. Get a clue, please. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But, finally, the real fans didn't ask for this abominable piece of garbage. And as soon as my slideshow catches up, yeah, take a damn good look, because this will not happen again. Resident Evil 9 will officially destroy the franchise completely. If you think it's bad now, wait until you see the ending of Village. And no, I'm not going to just say it. I'm not just going to say it. Janito! Mod the game, let's see some tatas. Oh boy, mister. Yeah, I know. I like the vampire, okay? I like the tall woman. But I'm not going to sit here and just buy it. I'm not going to buy it for the tall woman. I like her. She's hot. Big milkers and the vampire or the wasp daughter's pretty hot, but it's over. I cannot believe that people would pay this much just to see a tall vampire with big booba, with big butta. And I tell you what, getting down to the brass motherfucking tacks once again. It is time for Capcom to stop and wake up and smell that coffee. I mean, maybe it's not time for them to wake up and smell the coffee. Maybe it's just over. Maybe it is, in fact, a good thing that I had the funeral for this game, a week ago at this point. I mean, it's an abominable failure of a narrative. It's an abominable failure of a gameplay. The gameplay fundamentals are not there either. If you're looking for a story, not here. Trust me. If you're looking for gameplay, it's pretty clunky, first-person shooter, Call of Duty, lots of ammunition. Even if you play on the higher difficulties, I've heard there's just countless bullets, and it's like, holy cow. Resident Evil games used to be for adults, but now they are in fact for babies. And let's go. It is for babies. Look at this shit. Annabelle. So sad. And I don't even care who the person is holding it. Like, dude, this is no longer horror. And believe me, people. Believe me, thinking cap people. The brass tacks is not here to waste his time with this fantasy sludge. There's nothing that could make me want to buy this game. And believe me, nothing. I've thought about it just for the content. Buy it, review it, show you the reality, talk about this game thoroughly. But man, I can't. I cannot buy this game. It is not going to happen. And even if it did, you guys already know that the reality is it's not Resident Evil. Because, I mean, look at this crap. What is Resident Evil anymore? Now it's going to be this hodgepodge genre, just chock full of nonsense. And what bothers me the most is that this is a title. This is real. I would have never, in any reality, thought, we'd get down to this kind of brass tacks. But, hell yeah. No, it's not that I don't like Annabelle. Annabelle's a fine thing, but it's not Resident Evil. Name one moment in time where a doll comes back to life in Resident Evil, or one moment in time where any of this crap happens. Let's see, what else we got here? I know I got plenty more for you guys. Yeah, I already reviewed the damn game, and it is the simplest of games for the simplest of minds. All you get here is... I mean, what do you want? What do you want? Move forward, shoot. Occasional jump scare. Oh, you got Heisenberg's Factory. They're using that word to just attract clicks and get people to pay attention. The audio's terrible. People say the audio's, good. It's not better than Resident Evil 7, and if it's not better than Resident Evil 7, what's the point? What's the damn point? Oh, and by the way, Resident Evil 2 wasn't all that great, but looking back, goddamn. They tried, okay? I'll tell you that much. Oh, and by the way, all the side characters without facial animations. What's up with that? This is a half-assed attempt at it's capitalized. They're capitalizing off the Resident Evil name, and that is it. They don't care what happens with this. But since the embargo is lifted, later on I would like to talk about the spoilers. Not right now, though. We are just going to keep it chill and talk about all this nonsense. Wolf and Creature, Where the Wild Things Are. Big fat cupcake-eating merchant with... He's not even a merchant. He's just a glorified, meat peddler. But, yeah, let's see here. Right here. Let me do this on the fly, because I'm thinking. This scene in the game, when this takes place, it's like the Avengers bad guys. And to me, that is so cringy. That is so nasty, and just... When they meet all the villains like that... Oh, no! Bro, do you blame me? Does anyone... Okay, I'd love to... Let's get some Capcom people in here and tell me why what do you... Please! I want to know. How can you defend this? This is... Janito! Stars Bravo team. Taking it like a champ there, mister. I tell you what. People who have been there since the beginning don't need to wake up and smell that coffee, because they know that this is, this is just not good. And I would love to share some more footage with you guys, but unfortunately all the footage I have is either from the demo, or it's, well, I can't use it. Let's just say that. But, I tell you what, this game goes from, a circus sideshow to Call of Duty in about 5 seconds. No spoilers, but let's just say that the game changes significantly. And I'm sure most people at this point know that, but look, I'm not someone who bashes games just to bash them. I care about this franchise, and I've cared for a very long time. But getting down to the brass tacks here, this is not Resident Evil. It's anything but Resident Evil. And as we move forward, especially with Resident Evil 9, if they move forward on that sequel, you will wake up, because there is no sleeping through that. Are you telling me that we're going to get like some Carrie? Stephen King's Carrie? You know, in Resident Evil 9? Probably. Are we going to get some super soldier? Dude, I can't even say it. It's so bad. It's so bad. The survivors of Resident Evil Village, when they make it out, if they go on to do a Resident Evil 9, it is going to be diabolical. It is going to be the final nail in the final coffin of the final tomb for this franchise that is clawing at its already shallow grave. Like, come on, Capcom. This is going to be a turnaround. The fan base is going to be permanently divided by this all-new edition of Resident Evil 8, otherwise known as Resident Evil Village. The fan base is going to be so divided that you will actually see people get probably physically upset. And I understand, oh, I love my Dimitrescu. I don't care, okay? Look, I need villains to be scary. I need them to be intimidating, not tall and hot. Because, well, that just kind of ruins the entire thing. This is not a horror game. This is a simpleton game for simpletons. Simps simping for the tall woman. Oh my God, Lady Dimitrescu, you step on me with that high heel there, mister. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't care, okay? This is not why I bought it. Same thing with Cyberpunk. I didn't buy it because I wanted to see the sex scenes or the hot chicks. Don't care. I want a fundamentally well-made game that doesn't screw around, doesn't fuck around, and, well, we didn't get that with Resident Evil Village. If people haven't woken up, they soon will wake up, because the cracks are starting to show, as they say on Michael Does Live. Once we wake up and smell the coffee, though, believe me, believe me. Let's see here. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Oh! Bro, it looks just as bad on PlayStation 5. And that is not even a joke, not even a meme. This footage was captured from the Xbox One. But I have the exact same footage from the PlayStation 5. And guess what? It's the same. It's the same. Bad textures. Just... oh, Resident Evil 7, looking back, looks juicy. Resident Evil 7 is a juicy game. Yeah, clowns. Exactly what I'm saying. There are going to be clowns in this game if we keep moving forward like this. And I don't think we're going to keep moving forward like this. I think Resident Evil 9, if they seriously are invested in that, oh, man. I have a feeling they'll turn back once the fan reaction takes place. It's going to be, incredible. It's going to be an incredible turnaround for Resident Evil. Hopefully, they return to something that doesn't suck. Because this sucks right now. A bunch of cartoony characters placed into this great setting. And I will say, if you want me to say something good about this all-new edition of Resident Evil 8, well, I like the setting a lot. Now, it is notably dark. Dark as shit. One of the darkest games I've ever played. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Games like Dying Light, they perfected darkness. Darkness at that point was next generation. This, I think, is just terribly implemented. I think it's one of those things where basically it's just there's nothing you can do. And someone told me, oh, but Dylan, the thing pops up at the beginning and you can change your brightness. Well, it didn't, and I think that has to do with me owning ReVerse or having the closed beta version. I already set the brightness on that, and I think it crosses over or something, because I didn't get an option in this. PlayStation 5, by the way. PlayStation 5 footage, by the way. Terrible, dumb, stupid AI, just crap. I thought these were supposed to be, like, enemies that jumped around and just, 9 hours, $60, you do the math. Janito! Taking it like a champ there, mister. I'm not a mathematician, but believe me, let's just say a game that is $1 on Game Pass has 200 hours of playtime And I have the perfect example, No Man's Sky. Although I got nowhere, I put 200 hours into that for $1. Now, I don't care what your opinion is on No Man's Sky, because frankly, mine's not high either. Sean Murray needs to be, well, arrested probably. But either way, I think the dues have been paid. At least that game is fundamentally, at least it works. And what's with this? Resident Evil used to matter. Now, it does this shit. This... is it asking too much for the next generation to just maybe be a little bit fucking better? Maybe the next generation just be a little bit better? Hold a higher standard to this shit? Because if games like this are going to be $70, okay? If the next generation can do a little better, please. Now, if you didn't notice any visual differences there, that is a major fucking red flag. Because there are two different pieces of footage here. One from the most best-looking version, I guess, the PlayStation 5 version, and the Xbox One version, the ugliest. So if you didn't see a change in quality here, that is a red flag. And if you can't tell, that is even worse. Because from a base Xbox One, I get it. It is the probably least powerful console, but it is still valid. It is a valid console, and I have played the shit out of it. I have probably put close to 9,000 hours into gaming. And now I know that's a mighty hard, nasty pill to swallow, but swallow it you will. Because the fact of the matter is this, I've been a real Resident Evil fan, and I put in that work. I put in my time. I do what it takes to show that I am indeed one of the biggest fans of this franchise. But going down this road, I don't want to be a fan of this franchise, because when it comes to this, when you get this slop, when you get this shit, it is completely and blatantly over. Now, does this mean it's a completely invalid game? No. You drop the Resident Evil title, there may be something competent here. But the story, the fundamentals, no. Believe me, I have listened to the shills. I was literally up all night checking reviews. Before the embargo lifted, I was checking reviews, checking what people said, and I watched hours of just stuff. Of people saying it, and the reality is this: I don't have to repeat anything because they all said the same thing that I've been saying this whole time. Resident Evil 8 is an underwhelming, fruitless story. Just fruitless. And I mean, like, dude, okay, I've played some slop. I've played Watch Dogs Legion for like 50 hours. Now that is an incredibly sad story, but you don't see me crying because, getting down to the brass tacks, I mean, it had to be done. It had to be reviewed because Watch Dogs is, they're known for being liars, and this was another lie. And this right here, is it a lie? Well, Resident Evil being on the title is in fact a lie, so Village is a lie. Village is a lie. And if you want to spend $60 on a lie, I'm not going to stop you. You want to consume? Believe me, I do not care. I think it's good. You know what? Someone's got to consume the slop. Might as well be you. Because I frankly use my thinking cap. I have my brain turned on at all times. And this is one of those times where I'm glad that I woke up and smelled that coffee. Because it's over. How we doing? How we doing? I'm going to check the chat here. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Too spooky. You know what? I heard this is actually pretty lackluster when it comes to scares, and this is coming from a bunch of, babies who play baby games. Like, literally, I can't believe it. I can't even say it. There is so much to unpack here. I don't want to own the game, but I would love to unpack all the nonsense. It's just, do I want to open Pandora's box? Not for $60. For $60, I would love to, get something that mattered. But this game doesn't matter. So many games this year have just been flops. And especially, what are we going to do, guys? This is the biggest game for a while. Well, I mean, unless something just comes out of the blue, I think this is it. This is the last big horror title for quite, a decent time. And I know the Callisto Protocol and all that shit, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Until I see something, it doesn't exist, okay? until there's a beta or some leaked footage like Resident Evil or something. It just doesn't exist to me, and unfortunately, I have no interest in playing this game. I'm not going to put the 11 hours into it. I'm not going to put the 10 hours into it, because I know I could blast through this game like nobody's business. I could probably beat this game in 3 hours if I cared, but I don't care. The characters, anything you cared about from Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is not here. Sure, you get the first-person mechanics, and you get Ethan Winters, one of the worst characters ever. One of the fucking worst main characters ever. Just so bad. And you can tell that something affected this game horribly. I don't know if it was COVID or whatever, but the voice acting, it sounds like they did one take. The director said, okay, let's go home, and, that's it. We're done. One fucking take, that's what it sounds like. The actor who plays Ethan Winters, I am so glad. Well, I'm not gonna say it. We're not getting into spoilers, but I'm just glad. I'm glad. But yeah, it does need a different title. I just really... Yeah, there's nothing out right now. So this is the only thing people can really buy. And I mean, I get it. Nothing to play, nothing to purchase. I gotta spend my Biden stimulus check before it goes bankrupt. Janito! You never cared. You never have. And you never will. Because quite frankly, you're a fake Resident Evil fan. Oh yeah, buddy. I've been there since day motherfucking one. And you, fake Resident Evil fans, continue to push this franchise into a sludge-infested sewer. Janito, thank you for your support through Super Chat. Really do appreciate you taking it like a champ. But anyway, this Resident Evil fantasy crap can basically kiss the bottom of my foot. I have put a lot of money into this franchise. I've been there a long time, and that's a long time to be, a dedicated fan. And if this is how they repay their dedicated fans with games like Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is basically the worst remake I've ever played. And I can't stress that enough, that Resident Evil 3 was the beginning of the complete end. I could tell that they just didn't work on it. They cared about Resident Evil 2 for some reason. They must have thought, oh, this is the honeypot. This is where we're going to make, loads and loads. And I mean, they did. But why didn't they continue that? And tell me this. Why is the gore in Resident Evil Village so lackluster? There's nothing to it. There's no blood. There's no gore. I mean, a little splat here and there. A little red jelly. A little strawberry jelly. Make a sandwich with that shit. Ethan Winters, screw off with your bloody handgun. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me, folks. If the blood just looks bad, and that's something that can easily be done. Dead Rising 1 has some of the best blood I've ever seen. It's just, why did they go from Resident Evil 2 Remake? And I'm not the biggest fan of the Resident Evil 2 Remake, just to be honest, but why did they go from that level of quality to this level of quality? And I'm dead fucking honest. Why did this happen? It's because fake fans let it. And, I mean, come on, guys. I get it. I get it. You want to get in there, and you want to be scared, and you want to do a whole bunch of blasting on a bunch of creatures. A bunch of BOWs. A bunch of BOWs there, mister. But really, what you're going to get is this circus sideshow, silly Mickey Mouse nonsense. And if that's your cup of tea, be my guest. But if you want to wake up and smell that coffee with yours truly, Mr. Brass Tacks, Dylan in the Details, someone who actually cares about the consumer. I'm pro-consumer, not anti-game. Pro-consumer, not anti-game. Please get that straight. Because it is borderline offensive when people say I don't play video games. Well, if you look at the reality, I have played more video games than probably most of the people in this chat. Most of the people in here watching. And, it's not so much that... it's not so much that I'm saying, well, the inexperience of these people with, playing games. I'm not saying that's the problem here. What I'm saying is, the problem is they're paying full price for a barren product. Something that you're going to play once and put down forever. I'm dead serious. There's no alternate endings. There's no second takes. And if there is, none of it's canon. So incredibly sad. Hell yeah. Needs more Twitch. Well, we've been working on it. Hell yeah. Janito! Taking it like a champ. I've been working on it. This is basically the first real show. This format is going to be how it's going to go for a while. Until I can figure out how to get the 4K perfectly hooked up here. Because it hooked up, but nothing popped up. So I worked on this all night. All damn night. And I just couldn't get the other camera to work. But believe me, when we get the 4K running and the multiple camera setup in the future, we are going to be cooking. We are going to be cooking with gas. And you know who's not cooking with gas? Resident Evil. I think they're cooking with the stuff that's under the sink. You feel me? They are literally taking this franchise and burying it in a bunch of clown manure. Like, dude, I am shocked. You know what? I bet there is a clown in this game. I've seen the stupid, dumb little baby, scary, crawl around things. But this is not Silent Hill. You're trying to do something that PT did, something that Silent Hill did. You posers. Resident Evil Village from Capcom is just a poser game. It's for posers. It's for people who want to basically, fill their time. There's nothing to play, so I understand. But at the same time, the fundamental value is not there for Resident Evil Village, otherwise known as Resident Evil 8. And, even if you care about these characters, even if you care about, Chris Redfield and Ethan Winters, Mia Winters, or even the dumb baby that has no personality whatsoever, dude, you are going to seriously be upset when you play this and not enough is resolved, not enough, takes place. There's not enough meat on that bone. They said this was going to be open world Resident Evil, or at least feel like it. It is tiny little areas, corridors that you go through that pretty much you never see again. You never have to return to that area. Unlock the door, never return. In the other Resident Evils, there is always a reason to return.
Incredibly over. Pre-order. Consume. Pre-order. Consume.
Straight up Brando. Taking it like a champ there, mister. Consume the slop. Yes, indeed. Thank you for your support through Super Chat, man. Really do appreciate you. Tell me, guys, is it coming through the actual microphone or the, can you guys hear your Super Chats being read out? Because we have the system set up that is actually, it's kind of cool. Let me know if the Super Chats are being read out, because, Splatter. Taking it like a champ there, mister. Appreciate you. Your tunes bump, man. Your tunes are bumping. I'm not even going to lie. You can bust out some tracks, and they will sound like fire. Really appreciate you for what you do. Hell yeah, Splatter. Coming through. But literally, people, they want to consume the slop. And anyone who pre-ordered this is a part of the equation. Well, are they a part of the problem? It's hard to say. I think pre-ordering games is pretty much gambling. It's like gambling. You might throw away your money, or you might not. If you got so much money that you can just pre-order all these games, well, damn, aren't you just cool? But as someone who's basically, I'm not able to purchase all these games. Even if I were, Resident Evil 8, otherwise known as Resident Evil Village, wouldn't purchase it. It's not there. The meat on the bone, all these dumb characters that look like they came from American Horror Story Freak Show, please replace all this nonsense with something that actually matters. Like, imagine we got this, but it was like in Raccoon City or something like that, the Spencer Mansion. I don't want to like say that. That's blasphemy. If they try to remake Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil, believe me, we're going to Japan. I am dead serious. We will go to Japan if they are about to remake Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil. We will go outside of the headquarters. We will stand there and tell them that we are not going to take this shit because we are real Resident Evil fans and we want the best for this franchise. But unfortunately, this is what we get, people. This is what we get when we get down the brass motherfucking tacks. I tell you what, I am not going to consume. I am going to anti-consume. Yes, indeed. My review, if you think that was harsh... Oh, believe me, if I played the real game, we would be getting down to the brass tacks for probably 50 minutes. I'm thinking a 50-minute long review would be about what we would do because this is as big to me as... Well, let me think about that before I get too crazy. To me, this is as divided of a fan base situation as The Last of Us 2 is. When they killed Joel, well... something in this game, a few things happen that will kind of give you a similar feeling. And, God, I am surprised there's not almost like a comedy aspect to this crap. And although, you know, if there is, if there isn't, it doesn't mean anything to me because none of this has anything to do with Resident Evil. You remember White Umbrella or Blue Umbrella? I forget what the Umbrella Corporation is called in Resident Evil 7. Because I blasted through that game. That game was easy as hell. Beat it in like 4 hours. But the Umbrella thing, a lot of story elements that were in Resident Evil 7 do not carry over. So if you're really a fan of that game, you might not be a fan of this one. I know it looks the same. It might, you know, have some of the same fundamentals. But it is not as good looking. It is not as cared about. They did not put their time and effort into this like they should have. And even if they did, the script is so cringe. Oh my God. Some of the things the vampire says, some of the things Ethan Winters says to other people, some of the things people say to Ethan Winters is so bad. It's like they got... I don't know if you guys know. The Asylum, the people who make these ripoffs of like Transformers and call them Transmorphers, or they make the movie called Titanic 2. That's what this feels like, a fucking ripoff, a cash grab ripoff of something that is indeed great. But you don't get greatness here. You get something that destroys greatness and puts this deeper into the tomb. And I mean, do I blame Capcom? No, not necessarily. I blame anyone who said okay. I blame anyone who said this looks good. This is a good thing. We're doing a good thing, guys. The real fans will really appreciate it. Oh, wait. No, they didn't have any thought about real fans. They just thought all about the money. The fucking money is all it comes down to with these corporate pigs. These sloppy corporate scumbags. Just suckling at your wallet like a little leech. Give me some more of that money, mister. Buy our special edition with the trauma pack. Buy our... Yeah, what's up with that, by the way? Did they change? They didn't change the Chris Redfield doll to a Lady Dimitrescu doll. They should have done that because they would have sold a lot more copies, because most of these people are just a bunch of Zoomers stuck in their basement, like, drooling over women they can never have. They could never meet, you know, a strong, tall woman like that and get down to a brass tack, because at the end of the day, well, they live in their basement and they're just surrounded by, you know, the usual Cheeto dust, Cheetos. You know, several things about this really irk me, but I think the thing that irks me the most is that they just don't care. They don't care that this is happening. Nobody's waking up and smelling that coffee that this is the end of Resident Evil. They're putting it under right now as we speak. This doll stuff, this stupid nonsense, circus crap. Yeah, there are no spoilers here. We're not saying spoilers. But, yeah. Anyway, everything about this game really just, it pushes it further down. The music, I thought we were going to get a decent score, but it doesn't really pop up that much. I do like some of what I heard. I just didn't hear very much of it, and I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's just a certain time kind of thing. But, yeah. Cheetos. I mean, yeah, literally, just surrounded by Cheetos constantly.
just drooling over the tall woman, making memes of the tall woman. Just, they're gonna mod the shit out of this, and believe me, it's probably already happening now. In fact, this is a live situation. This is a setup where we can actually do a lot of things, and we're gonna get down to the brass tacks and find out if someone's already modded the tall woman. Because that's all anyone cares about. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, I tell you, there's some shit already there, so am I shocked? No. A bunch of simpletons want to play this piece of garbage. A bunch of incels want to drool over these women they can't have, these digital creatures that are just basically nothing. They don't exist. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. You guys are only... The fake Resident Evil fans are only talking about a certain amount of this game. A very small chunk that has to do with Lady Dimitrescu and the daughters. And that is really just not a large chunk. Did you see? If you haven't seen how many villains there are in this game, they have a super secret villain meeting, which is out there already and is not a spoiler. They have a little meeting in the sit-down, and it looks like the Avengers is fucking happening. At any point, they could tear apart Ethan Winters, literally limb by limb, eat his flesh, regurgitate it, eat it again, and shit it out. That is how much time they have to screw up Ethan Winters, and they didn't. They didn't. It's a Deus Ex Machina thing where they just want to throw in these hero moments where it feels like, oh, this is epic. Trust me right now, people. If you have a thinking cap, what you see is fake. Now, I know that is going to be hard to explain, but in a part where you meet all the villains, well, there's a moment for them all to tear you apart, and it shows what the game could have been. A bunch of werewolves running around on buildings and stuff, but it's fake. They don't really, do that. It's on rails, it's scripted, it's just junk. Just like Nemesis, just like, dude, there are so many fucking things they have rehashed here. Do I even need to explain? I mean, come on. Resident Evil is indeed dead. You know who killed it? Capcom. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Appreciate you, mods. Appreciate you very much. And I appreciate all of you stopping by for the reality of the situation, because frankly, it is fucking time to tell everyone not to buy this game. Do not buy this. Capcom only cares about the money. If they cared about the story and the fundamentals, we would see something here. Unfortunately, we are moving into the darkest territory ever, where soon mind powers will be a part of Resident Evil. Mind powers will be a part of Resident Evil. Telekinesis will be a part of Resident Evil. If we keep going down this fucking road, Resident Evil will eventually look more like X-Men. At that point, it's X-Men. And you know what? Let it be. Let it be. I just can't... I can't believe people don't care this very much. I can't believe they don't want more from this. Vampires, werewolves, and goblins. Oh, and a little magical doll. Dude, please. I know there's nothing to play. You don't think I'm feeling that too? You don't think I'm feeling the drought? Shit. If anyone's feeling it, I'm feeling it. All I have to really say about this is bad things. I'm trying my damnedest to say good things. I forgot if there even were any, honestly. Because there are so many glaring parts of this game that are just not good. Just not good. And I don't care if the action picks up. Excuse me, I don't care if the action picks up when Chris Redfield, jumps into action. I don't care if this turns into Call of Duty. I don't care if you have infinite bullets and just... This is a $20 experience, I would say. Maybe 30, depending, I don't know. As a true Resident Evil fan, I just bask in complete speechlessness at the fact that this was allowed to happen. Real Resident Evil fans should have stepped up sooner and said, wow, what are you talking about there, mister? Because Capcom has turned into this clown show. Literally just a clown show. And when we get down to the brass tacks, I tell you what, I cannot buy this game.
The voice of reason cleansing our minds. The brass tacks.
Dark Corner Production, coming through and taking it like a champ. Tell you what, thinking cap mister, are you a mod? If you're not, I think you... Oh, you are. Alrighty. Dark Corner Productions, thank you once again for your support through Super Chat, man. We are building here. Building upon the truth-telling, pro-consumerism. This is going to be the place where I will tell you the reality, whether I like it or not. If Village was a good game, I would tell you. I would bite my lip and tell you. It is not a good game. It is not a good game. It is not a refreshing experience. If you're into vampire boobs, just go elsewhere because this has a limited stock of them. There is a limited stock because there are about 10 villains, 10 major villains. I mean, not exactly, but when we get down to the brass tacks, there is it's like a Marvel cast of just goofy supervillains, like Thundercat style, literally Thundercat style. Actually, let me look up Thundercats because now that I think about it, this is pretty close. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of it, but Thundercats is more Resident Evil than Resident Evil at this point, and that is a fucking fact. Because this, you know what I look at when I see this? Wasted potential. This could have been something. If they would have called it something else, we would be on a totally different page right now, but then it wouldn't make all the money that Capcom wants to make, because that's all they fucking care about is making money. And you, the consumer, will give it to them because you are bored. It's because you're bored. I don't blame you for buying this game. I just blame you for buying it at full price. And I mean, like, dude, I would review it, but it is not worth it. It is not worth reviewing. I mean, I totally would, but I just, I'm not putting my money down on this slop, this grease trap. I've seen the beginning, middle, and end, and no spoilers yet, but later in the video we will talk, and I will announce it many times before then, so do not panic and leave. And anyone in the comments section talking about spoilers, I am going to ask to be timed out. But, yeah. Just got a new comment on my Resident Evil review. They said, WTF is this shit? And, yeah. What is this shit? Let's get down to some more brass tacks here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the doll thing is just terrible. When I saw that, my mind fucking churned. In a way that you guys would probably, you know... It's shocking. It's shocking to me. I should have been wearing my shitting pants because, well, having a little problem here. And, yeah, the vampires are hot. The wasp woman, you know, it's all whatever. Like, it's not that I'm anti-woman. It's not that I'm anti-whatever. But it's just not Resident Evil. It's so not Resident Evil that I don't even know what I'm looking at. Museum Simulator. Dark as shit. Ugly as hell. And this is PlayStation 5, mind you. Looks about as bad as any of them. I don't know what it's going to take to get this train back on the rails, but I think it's time to buy a new train. It's time to buy a new train because, look. Lady Dimitrescu, great, beautiful facial animations, just looks really good. I will say the facial animations for Dimitrescu look good. Big Booba Vampire had extra attention. All this other stuff, though, literally just ignored. And now,
How they pay full and I get it for free. It's over. I get to eat at the buffet for free. More to come moving the wheels.
Little fishy, coming through really hard and really strong, mister. Taking it like a champ there, as usual. The reality of the situation is this, little fishy 69. It's over for Resident Evil. And if you want any help to get this, situation to be better than it is, well, trust in the brass tacks and do not pay full price. Like you said, Mr. Fishy, you don't have to pay full price. And that is incredibly rad. Because look at this. Another setting simulator. You may as well play on PC because you'll get to play with the settings twice in a row. And, yeah. And tell me this. How are they going to fix the terrible AI? I know it's more possible with this than it is with Cyberpunk or any of the other pieces of trash that just... Oh... It's got more potential to be fixed, but I don't think they're gonna fix it. I don't think they give a shit. And should they? No, I mean, if the money comes in, the money comes in. Oh! See, this is what I'm talking about. The combat is so stupid. So dumb. Just trash. And you will see the same animations over and over and over again. And now if you're gonna rag on me for enjoying the fixed camera angle Resident Evil games and say, oh, they're all the same animations, bro, this is 2021. Get over it. The fixed camera angle Resident Evils are good, and you cannot dismiss that. And I will literally go 12 rounds and tell you why you cannot. You can't say that shit. Not to me, real Resident Evil fan. And if they cared about this game, they would have made the combat better. Because when you throw pipe bombs, grenades, all that crap, it doesn't affect the environment. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect the environment. It doesn't affect you. Not one single mark. You know what? Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PlayStation 2 did something. Now this does nothing. It does nothing but bury the franchise deeper in this fantasy element nonsense. Yes, indeed, folks. The cracks are indeed starting to grow. Ha ha. Yes, indeed. And, if the AI was better, it wouldn't matter. Because they can't do all that much. They're stuck. They're magnetized to the ground. Anytime you think one of these werewolves, and yes, they are werewolves, not lichens. Believe me, real fan here. These werewolves, they should be able to, like, jump through shit and, like, okay, here's my problem with what just happened. Here's my problem with what just happened. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is on the PlayStation fucking 5, okay? This is on the PlayStation 5. The fastest selling console ever, supposedly. But we are getting animations that look like this. The machete he is hitting this, nothing's really happening here, okay? Same animation, immediately turns into something else. If it's so hard to describe what's shit here, but I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, because I am putting down the reality. The machete he's using should have hit, actually physically hit stuff. But instead it's this on-rails animation that just, it doesn't do anything for me. And it's like, well, boom. It's over, fake Resident Evil fans. Thanks to you, pre-ordering this nonsense. Slop after slop after slop. This is what we're left with. Resident Evil as a fantasy game instead of a horror survival game. I tell you, man. The survival horror days are long over for Resident Evil, but that doesn't mean... Oh, wait. Yeah, that does mean it is over. Resident Evil is indeed not what it once was. Now, if you're going to tell me that, it has to stay the same or it has to change, I don't really care. Keep it the same or change it. Makes no difference to me. Because the fundamentals of the old school games are still there. They are permanent. They can't be destroyed. They can't be erased. and they should have just stuck with making a bunch of those, because is it really hard to make a bunch of fixed camera angle games? Is it really difficult? I'm not a programmer. I'm not an engineer. I don't know about software engineering or anything. But I can tell you that it seems easier to make a bunch of fixed camera angle games on a lower price, or even a regular price. I would buy fixed camera angle games for $40. $40, okay? Capcom, if we can come to some agreement, you know, I don't think we can, but if we can come to some agreement where you start releasing actual good Resident Evil games that matter, and, you know, be it first-person, fixed camera angle, whatever, over the shoulder, I don't give a shit. Just release a good Resident Evil game for the love of God. I mean, do I really care? Do I really care? The thing is, and this is an interesting point in the video we've come to. I'm going to check chat real quick. Yeah, 6 to 8 hours long, 9, yeah. No, I bet I could beat this game in 4 hours. But anyway, when we get down to the brass tacks, I tell you what. What worries me most is Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Code Veronica, and the Resident Evil original from Shinji Mikami, the remake. Those 3 things right there make me so fucking nervous. If this doesn't take off for Capcom, they are going to return to remakes. And although you may think Resident Evil 4 is possibly in the distance, it's not. They're still working on Resident Evil 4 VR. And if that's not an indication of where we are in this business, yikes. Another port of Resident Evil 4, people, isn't it just what you wanted? VR, oh boy, baby, let's go. Let's not. In fact, let's stay. Because the further we go down the road of Resident Evil, the more I get nervous that they're going to just trash something that is already good. If they mess with Shinji Mikami's remake, we're going to Japan. We're going to protest that shit before it is, you know, I would stand there with a sign and say, not my Resident Evil, until, you know, someone came out and told me to stop. And then I would just put on a disguise and come back and keep protesting a Resident Evil remake, because if they do that, that is fucked. That is bad. That's bad news, and we do not want to go down the bad news road, because the news is already so bad. But if for some reason some magical fucking miracle happens where all the stars align, all the planets align, and we get Resident Evil Code Veronica remade, they will fuck that up. And I do not want it messed up, because I didn't get to play it all that much. I played the intro, I got to the golden gun section, the shotgun, I got the... Anyway, before I go down some nostalgia trip, Resident Evil Code Veronica and the Resident Evil Shinji Mikami remake doesn't need to be remade. Don't touch them. Just move on to Resident Evil 9, keep doing your garbage. But that's what makes me the most nervous about it. This game, if it's super successful, they will keep going with what they're doing here. They will keep going with Resident Evil 9. And in Resident Evil 9, I tell you what, I can see it now. I can see it now because I know these things. I know what's going to happen. And I think we're going to seriously see the fall of Capcom. The fan base is going to be so split, so divided. You will never see the fan base this divided again. I mean, you know, let's just talk about this. You know how the evolution of Resident Evil has taken place. You had the fixed camera angle games. Then you had the over-the-shoulder games, and they did their thing. And now we've got these first-person games. Where does Resident Evil go from this? If it's successful, where does it go? Oh, probably into some paranormal bullshit where you use your tentacles. Excuse me. Where you use your tentacles and basically just, you know, I can't say it. I can't say it. We're not getting into spoiler talk. That's just not what we're doing here. I don't want to... I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it spoiler time? Someone tell me. Because I'm itching to just say what I think is going to take place. What I have a hunch is going to take place. Because I think Resident Evil 9... Oh, it's going to be one of those games that either makes or breaks forever. because it is a direct sequel. It would be a direct sequel to Resident Evil Village. And, well, I have a lot to say about where Village ends. No spoilers. Alrighty, man. Well, spoiler time. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys tell me. I don't really want to because, we have some viewers. Yeah. No, there is no real conclusion. There's no tying up the knot with the storylines, especially from Resident Evil 7. There's nothing really to connect it besides Ethan Winters, Mia Winters, and their baby. And that's it. I mean, Chris Redfield is not the same Chris Redfield. They changed him based on fan outrage of the Chris Redfield in Biohazard. Now, if we can get them to do that, we can get them to change this. God, if it was just called Village, we wouldn't even be talking right now. We'd be talking about something else. Or, we'd be talking about this, but in a very different way. Believe me, that is a mighty hard pill to swallow, but swallow it you will, because Resident Evil Village is indeed the final nail in that coffin for Capcom and their Resident Evil franchise. I mean, come on, man. Look at this. Which of these images to you screams the most about Resident Evil? The doll has a camera. I don't know. All I know is the scene I watched, and I don't think we can watch it. I don't want to chance it. Capcom really is trying to shut me up big time. But either way, the doll scene where all the shit's going on and there's shit flying around the room, I don't care what's going on there. There's nothing they could tell me. Oh, Dylan, you don't understand. It's the mole doing this and that and the third. I don't care. The paranormal shit, the stupid circus clowns don't belong in Resident Evil. And the day that they do belong in Resident Evil, I am jumping ship from this sinking franchise. Because I intend to conform to quality, not conform to Capcom's corporate agenda. These corporate whores invested in taking your money. I'm just telling it like it is. If you don't like being told how it is, well, I understand living in a fantasy realm can be, tempting. But, no, it literally doesn't look like anything. Nothing Resident Evil here. Nothing Resident Evil at all. And it really sucks they wasted the setting on this game. The setting actually looked cool. Not necessarily the graphics, but the way things are set up, the castle in the distance. This should have been something completely different. Take out all the ballistics, all the weapons, all the grenades and mines, and, put in a sword, and then we got, something different, And I can't believe it. I fucking can't believe it, folks. I'm gonna... Let's see. I know the meta score last time I checked was 85 or something. I believe it was 85. I want to know if fans are waking up. This is what I'm most excited about. If fans are waking up to this reality, we might be onto something. And I'm getting a little excited because Jaffe, I think that's his name, he said, don't get your hopes up. And I heard that from AP, and AP helps share a lot of information, and that kind of made me nervous to think that, this prestigious man, this director, this, quality, content releaser, I think that made me so nervous because, he knows how devastatingly divided things can be. And this will be the most divisive Resident Evil in history, I swear. You think 6 was outrageous? You think that crazy skyscraper fighting nonsense was silly? You wait. I am telling you right now, you wait. And you will know. It is indeed the biggest blunder in all of Resident Evil. And, brass tacks here. I am going to say that really, if it continues, we're going to get the biggest saddest. Oh. I love Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil, and if we have to bury it like this, it sucks. I ain't gonna say it's gonna bring a tear to my eye, but man, we have come so far. Over 25 years of thrills. I mean, not every one of those years was filled with thrills. Let's get down to the brass tacks there, Leon. I just wish we could get back to, excitement. Satisfying sequences, action, violence, gore. And that's another thing they downgraded was gore, and just really everything about this game is a downgrade compared to Resident Evil 7. You got the fat man who just I cannot relate with. I'd have to eat a shitload of ice cream and Twinkies to relate with that. And the fact that all of your weapon upgrades, they just automatically happen. They just attach to the gun immediately. Soulless bullshit. Terrible. The inventory itself, clunky, pointless, meaningless. I don't know why they changed it. The inventory was fine in Resident Evil 7. This one, no. No. Not good. Not good at all. The darkness factor seriously pisses me off so much. And I already turned it up before that. I believe RE Verse I was playing the closed beta for. The data crossed over and I didn't get to set it up at first. But it was still, the brightness was up. And I had to turn it up even more. And that's not even the darkest place either. It's just, I got so pissed off I couldn't take it. But, folks, Resident Evil from 1992, Resident Evil 2, seems to have better, more aware enemies than this. Like, Jesus. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Brass Tacks is here to, well, apply the ointment to the wound, because this is a deep-ass wound we got here. And the thing about shooting mechanics and... Here, let me give you guys some audio. Oh, you already have audio. The thing about the shooting and the mechanics of that, when a bullet hits the target, this is like almost an next-gen game, or at least it should be. When a bullet hits a target, they should be, staggered. But we get these animations that are just locked in. And I just can't handle that. We've come so far, dude. We've come so far, and this is what we get? Stupid, dumbass AI. They can't enter certain buildings. And it's not because it's a church or whatever. And all of this combat leads to nothing. Leads to absolutely nothing. So if you think this is fun, you're looking at the whole game right here. You're looking at the whole fucking game. This is all you do. There are little sequences where, oh, Ethan Winters got to, pull his hand off of this and that and do this and crank that and go up this ladder and do this and that. That is all the same shit. If you played Resident Evil Biohazard and liked it, you might not like this. In fact, you may be pissed off. No gore, no destruction. The combat is stupid. I just shot that point blank shotgun blast. Multiple bullets being put into these sponges, these stupid dog sponges, and oh man, this is like tragic to me. This is fucking tragic. Where actually I am sad that Resident Evil, it's gotten to this point where I don't think we can pull it back out. And this is PlayStation 5. We need to hold this to a higher standard. Oh man, do we ever? In Resident Evil 4, they physically tore down the door. When you shot bullet holes through the door, it would shoot off that part of the door, and I think Resident Evil 4 is more advanced than this piece of slop. This linear nonsense. Junk, garbage, shit, slop, poop, ass, turds. And it is over. Let me tell you. As a true fan, I am indeed calling it. Resident Evil Village is not my Resident Evil. And it's not your Resident Evil. And if you want to be a part of the future of Resident Evil, well, you're going to have to do something that is unfortunately very hard to do. Do not buy this game. more so than anything, do not pay full price for this game. And if you pre-order it, well, consider canceling before it is too late, which I think it's too late. If the embargo review lifted, doesn't that mean people have potential copies? I know some leaked, and I've been looking for that. Excuse me for one moment. Hell yeah. I don't usually talk this much. But Dead Air Dylan is here to tell you folks that indeed this franchise is dead. Why is it dead? Look before you. Look at the clowns. Look at the circus people. The freak show is in town. And I can't be a part of that. I can't be a part of Resident Evil Village because it's not my Resident Evil. And if you think that's bad to say, if you think, oh, Dylan, what are you talking about there, buddy? You need to support game developers. No. These people have plenty of money, plenty of resources. We do not need to keep giving them more and more and more for less and less and less. This is a linear sequence. This is such a linear sequence that you are going to seriously be pissed off when you look at the map and then you say, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing to do. Can't go here, can't go there, because this is a linear, scripted, forward-moving game where you just move forward and shoot. We're back to the Resident Evil 3 remake fundamentals where it's just move forward and shoot. In fact, Resident Evil 3 is more survival horror than this. And now I know that's at 0%, but this is at negative percentage. This is not survival. This is, in fact, a circus sim. A museum walking simulator where there are more cutscenes than you are going to be desiring. This is like Metal Gear Solid level of cutscenes and sequences that really just, there's no interaction, you don't do anything special. There are some game mechanics, yeah, that are different. There are a few game mechanics that may be unexpected, but that means nothing to me when the fundamentals are fucked. When everything is bad, Ethan Winter's terrible, voice acting terrible, audio hit or miss, just the direction itself and the script, really, all of these factors bleed into this. When you have so many bad elements coming together, it's like a perfect stew of terrible shit. It's just the perfect blend of mediocrity. And this, it is definitely mediocrity. Now, will some people be combative and tell me, oh, Dylan, what are you talking about there, mister? Oh, hoo, 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 hoo. But yeah, guys, we are going to be getting down to the brass tacks on this one as much as we can. I want to talk more about it, but I'm going to have to wait and see some more shit. I know the ending, I know this and that and the third. I've seen all that footage from here to Kingdom Come, and I'm not going to spoil it. At least I don't think so. But I really want to thank all the real Resident Evil fans for sticking it out like this. We have been trying for so long to get a perfect Resident Evil game that at this point, I think the perfect Resident Evil game has come and gone. And we're left with this. Dry, empty franchise that is on the brink of becoming, well, a satire of itself. This is now a satire at this point. I'm surprised they don't make it a fucking comedy. Put a few clowns in there juggling chainsaws. I mean, you're not far off from that on Dead Rising, like. And that's the thing, dude. I don't mind wacky, silly shit. Just if it's in Resident Evil and it doesn't have to do with, you were almost a Jill sandwich. I don't want any of that. It doesn't conform. It doesn't mold. It doesn't, it's not, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know what just works? Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil. Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil 4. Even if it's an action shooter, it's still better than this trash. I wish we were still going down that road instead of this. Because now I gotta look at it. And it is not pretty. All of these images here make me cringe on the inside. Make me just feel like the biggest dumbass to be a part of this franchise and put so much money and so much time into this. Ah, man. How we doing? How we doing? Hell yeah. Thank you, mods. Thank you, mods. Appreciate you very much for coming through and helping out the reality of the situation. The reality is this. People disagree, and they hate that I don't agree with them. That if I don't conform to your opinion, well, you're a salty piece of shit. And that's, you know what, that's just too bad. You want to be salty. You want to be, at the end of the day, covered in pure salt and say, oh, Dylan doesn't like this piece of shit game. Oh, no. Believe me, as a true fan, it means nothing to me for someone to tell me, oh, you're wrong. It means nothing at all, because I have heard it so many times from these fake fans who actually know nothing about the fundamentals of Resident Evil, where it's come from, where it's been, where it's going, who was there, and how much effort they put into it. Because, I mean, even the original Resident Evil with the terrible acting, the supposed terrible acting, Carlos! Like, you're almost a Jill sandwich. That is better than this Ethan Winters fucking slop. Ethan Winters, the worst protagonist, like, ever. Grand Theft Auto 3's protagonist is better than this. More personality, more interesting, capability. And frankly, I hope Ethan Winters just never returns to the series. I hope anything that happens in this game is permanent damage to all involved. Because I can't do it. I can't continue going with Resident Evil when it is such a piece of slop. But as a part of the real fan base, of the people who have been here for so long, tirelessly defending this franchise, saying it'll come back, it'll do better, we'll see it again, I'm not so sure at this point. I was super excited for Biohazard. I thought, well, the first person is pissing off the fake fans, so obviously it's going to be a potentially good one. But it didn't turn out to be that way. It just turned out to be kind of mediocre and regular. But this slop is not mediocre and regular. It is fucking trash. Resident Evil Village is garbage. Garbaggio shit on the bottom of my flip-flop. And yes, I am wearing flip-flops. A suit and flip-flops, imagine that. The brass tacks knows what's up. And I am comfortable with saying that this is the worst, ugliest Resident Evil since, well, in a decade. Oh my god. PlayStation 5, people. Don't buy it. It's a scam. Resident Evil Village, although it may not be a scam, it is definitely part of the reality that is next gen is not ready. The cake came out of the oven too fast, and, well, now we gotta deal with sloppy cake. This shit. Screw this. I can't even look at it. I can't even look at it. No, I don't even want to look at it. Well, guys, the reality is this. Brass Tacks is going to be with you throughout this entire unmitigated event that is just a drought. Video games of 2021 are indeed, not really there. There's not enough going on in the video game world to compel me to pay all these unimaginable prices. I mean, I'd rather pay $80 for Life is Strange than these Hillary Clinton space shooters or these fake Resident Evil games, these terrible knockoffs that are just so bad. By the way, anyone who doesn't want spoilers and doesn't want, well, let me think of a better way to say this. Anyone who wants to know the reality of the situation but doesn't want to be spoiled, watch the intro, the 30-minute fucking intro. It's posted on Gameverse, I believe, or maybe it was taken down. Yeah, it might have been taken down. Either way, there's a 30-minute intro, which if you watch, you might get a taste of what's going to happen. And believe me, I want the best for you. I am pro-consumer. I want you to get your money's worth. I want me to get my money's worth. I want us all to have a great time with these games. But when you put Resident Evil next to Village, you get slop. Sludge that just clogs up the machine, and the machine is running like shit. Resident Evil is clogging up the Capcom corporate machine, and I am here to bring you the reality of the situation. Now, thank you very much for stopping by. If you would like to be a member, I believe that is now possible. I do not know. I mean, they said it was possible. But is it? If you would like to be a member of the channel, there are perks, and we are working on the different tiers on Patreon to basically give more reason to support the show, support the channel, because at the end of the day, this does cost something to keep going, and, you know, although I find it fun, we do have to grease the gears from time to time, and, well, I mean, it's just the reality. And if you become a member, well, there are benefits to that, and I will shout you out in chat pretty much every time I see your badge, every time I see you, as long as your name's appropriate. Hell yeah, free Dylan. Do a stream with Michael later. I'll see what Michael's up to, but it is getting late. I don't know what he's doing. I always love streaming with Michael Does Live because, frankly, you know, he gets combative, and I like to take the bait because he thinks he gets me upset, but really, at the end of the day, I don't get upset. I don't get mad. I just laugh on the inside and know that the reality is the brass tacks is the truth-telling pro-consumer. And Michael Does Life, well, I thought he was going to like Village, but then something happened and he realized, well, this is bad. And thank goodness he did too, because I would have reality checked. You know, I'll reality check anybody who thinks this game is good, that this game is going in the right direction, because, frankly, it's not. And if you want to know the reality, you can always talk to me. Not always will I have an opinion, but Dylan in the details certainly looks at the details. We look at the cracks. We've been there since day one. And, well, we want it to be good for everybody. Good for everybody doesn't always mean good for their wallets, though, does it? Yes, indeed. My friends, I want to thank you for joining me on this stream. The first of many streams to bring you the truth, the reality. And, well, once we move the wheels on this show completely, we're going to have different shows all the time. We're going to have so many different kinds of shows that pretty much we could have a different show every single time we go on. I want to start a weekly scheduled show where we, you know, show up and do our thing every week. Every single week, no matter what. If I have to cancel, you know, going to the grocery store, or I have to cancel, you know, going to the gym and working out, big papa pump over here, yeah, I'll do that. Because I like hanging out with you guys. I like getting down to the brass tacks, the reality of the situation, being a truth-telling pro-consumer individual who really just wants to be an independent thinker, not tied down by sponsorship or censorship. Eventually, you're going to see some serious shit. But, once again, folks, I want to thank you for stopping by. Really do appreciate you guys. We got down to the brass tacks, and as a truth-telling, pro-consuming, real Resident Evil fan, I gotta say, it is indeed sad to see it go, but it's probably better for them to, you know, fade out than completely burn. Like, my God, you want to talk about burning? Resident Evil Village is burning. And I do mean burning, folks. The tall woman ain't burning for you. She's actually a flying spaghetti monster of some kind or something. And when she transforms, you will be like, ugh, crusty demon. But yeah. Anyway, guys, want to thank you for stopping by, tuning in to the brass tacks. I appreciate you so much for stopping through and getting down to the brass tacks with me, real Resident Evil fan. Thank you for stopping through, supporting the show. Once again, brass tacks here to bring you the reality of the situation. It's over, Resident Evil fans. New, old, fake. When we get down to the brass tacks, the reality is this: Resident Evil just died. Thanks for tuning in, tagging along, and I'll see you again soon there, friends. Brass tacks signing out.